Hello and welcome to In the Arts. I'm your host, Will Nichols, and we have a very, very extraordinary treat for you this time. I'm honored to have a guest on my show who has held the title of Queen of Ethiopia, Bay Area, some other titles through the world of computers, like the communication world, different things of that nature. And she's a model, working model, and I'm fortunate to have her on the show with her knowledge and interesting talking and speaking and about Ethiopia, and certainly will enlighten some of the things that we didn't know. And I certainly felt enlightened about things I didn't know. It's my honor to introduce to you Samrawit Asfaw. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be here. It's a pleasure to be here.
You certainly
Thank you for having me.
Oh, that's all right. It's a pleasure. So we'll cover some subjects, I'm sure. We were talking earlier about the history, some history of Ethiopia. But the one thing, this is a subject we all can identify with. I'm guilty too, and we love this every morning, and that's not sleeping late. I'm speaking of coffee, and there's a rich history that I was not aware of. So I met our distinguished guest here, who enlightened me on the liquid cuisine with the caffeine. So. Anyways, about the history of coffee, we're looking at the plant here, which is in Kaffa, as you were saying.
Yeah, it was found in Kaffa, and was found by a goat, actually.
I see. So, how did that work? In other words, we see the plant, and then from what was the process to get the story about the beans and whatnot, and what you told was very interesting. How to well, here's the beans. Now, what this was, the goat was eating these beans, right? And started bucking and kicking like a bronco.
The goat was really excited when he first tried it. And the goat herder named Kaldi, it was one of his goats.
I see.
So he was looking at him, jumping up and down, really excited. And he wanted to find out what happened to the goat. So he followed him and learned that he was eating this red cherry. So Kaldi, the goat herder, wanted to try for himself. Okay. So he tried it for himself, and he got the same effect as the goat. So he decided to take some beans to his wife. So he put some in his pocket. He took the beans to the wife. So he told her the whole story. She tried it, and she said, "Oh my God, this is heaven sent." And they used to live by a monastery. So she told him to take it to the monks and show to the monks. And the monks was looking at the coffee beans, heard the whole story, and they decided that it is from the devils, because it gets you excited, right?
Well, well, that was an emotion, like they would associate maybe with something not quite so nice, or something that they couldn't explain, first of all. Even that exists even now in modern philosophies of something we can't explain, and we just don't know what it is. And it takes time maybe to develop.
So it was just a wild tree that nobody knew what to do with it.
So there was something. How did they get it to liquefies? What happened?
That's a good question. The monks were by the fire, so they decided it's from the devil, because it's gets you excited. So they threw it all in the fire.
Oh, okay.
So it started smoking, And I mean, have you ever smelled coffee when it's roasted?
Oh yeah,
It is so beautiful.
Well, yeah.
When you pass by Starbucks.
It has an intriguing odor.
Yeah.
That actually draws you in. Actually.
So they after that they decided to pick it up from the fire, pick all the coffee beans from the fire. They grind it. Then they were boiling water. They put the ground coffee in the water. So those were the first people who drank coffee, and this was about 1,200 years ago.
Oh my.
In a place named Kafa. So I believe the name of the coffee and the Kafa are related.
Yeah, and of course from that now, the custom developed from that time.
The coffee ceremony.
Yeah, the coffee ceremony,
Yeah.
and that when someone comes to your home, you offer them a cup of coffee.
Yep.
And whatnot. So now more about the ceremony. How is that? Is it just a personal, friendly thing, or is there? And there's no ritual to it? Is there nothing like that? I don't mean.
Some people do ritual with it, but a lot of us consider it as a gathering, socializing. You get all the neighbors. Because of coffee, everybody gathers around, and you tell stories, what's happening in town, and everything. Because the coffee ceremony itself takes about 2 to 3 hours.
Oh.
It has 3 stages, and the coffee is roasted right there, so that the guest and whoever is making the coffee roast the coffee, and they go around the guests so that they can smell the coffee. And
Fantastic.
yeah.
Oh man, I can smell the coffee now. Yeah, man. Wow. So it is actually the pouring and all that stuff, and in the ceremony, et cetera, et cetera. Yeah. So okay, yeah.
So it has 3 stages in the coffee ceremony. That's why it takes about 2 hours. So it's a really good.
I'm looking at the setup here now. What is that over there? The looks like.
Yeah, I brought you some to try and to show you what it looks like. Because when we make coffee, we don't really use the coffee machine. We use what's called a pot or a jabana. In my language, it's called jabana, and it's a clay pot that we pour the coffee and the water inside, and usually. It's boiled with charcoal fire.
Yeah. Okay.
And it just, I love the taste of it.
Oh yeah. That's right.
And everybody gets a cup. The cups are really small because the coffee is really thick.
Oh yeah. Okay. Wow.
It's very thick, and usually it is accompanied by a snack, which is called bunna qurs.
Okay.
The literal meaning of it is coffee breakfast, but it's just a snack. It can be a popcorn or.
Well, that's a very interesting part of that. Of course, there's another part when we get to the architecture. I wonder if they was drinking coffee and building those temples and things. You had a.
Oh, yeah.
You had to have some energy. Of course, those days they had cheap labor. I'm sure it got a bunch of people together to do that. Now,
and that's how I defined Lucy too.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned the tall thing that looks like the Washington Monument. What is that called?
It's called the Aksum obelisk.
Yeah, and then with this we can see the close-up of the actual artwork, which is fantastic.
Yeah. It's located in the north part of Ethiopia.
The northern part of Ethiopia.
Yeah.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's so intricate. Like there's a lot of time put into that and building that, and also other things. We mentioned the 11 temples. Which, in fact, I find a lot of that that technology in that period very fascinating. The pyramids, for instance, different things that have lasted all these years. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because I don't know if we build anything in modern time that's going to last that long. However, I wouldn't be around to prove it anyway. But I find that quite amazing. How
the granite obelisk is about 1,700 years old. And it is about 79 foot long, and it weighs about 160 tons.
Wow.
So, and then it was carved and erected by the Ethiopian civilization at the time, King of Aksum, the Kingdom of Aksum.
I see.
And you can imagine how heavy it is.
Yeah,
you can look at the carving of it.
Oh yeah,
The
that's what I see.
actual design of it.
Inside the temple.
Yeah.
That's beautiful work.
Even the obelisk. Yeah.
And they dug those 11 times, digging that deep and building something out of the ground.
That is the Lalibela one.
Yeah.
That is in a different city.
Oh,
in
it is?
Lalibela. The Aksum is in Aksum. In addition to the obelisk, there is a church.
There's a church, yeah.
There's a church, St. Mary Zion Church, and it's believed that it's holding the Ark of Covenant.
Oh, yes, the covenant, yeah.
Yeah.
Nobody is allowed in there.
Nobody's allowed in there.
That's strictly a no-no.
Yeah.
And then it's a question, is it really there or is it not? Nobody wants to say, well, don't get me to look. So
Yeah.
that's a well-kept type of thing there. But I just find the art...
And the Lalibela is 11 churches that are really fascinating.
Oh, yeah,
they were dug in
the ground,
and built in the ground.
And the amazing part is some of the artwork on the inside.
Some of the it's beautiful.
We see this example here now of the artwork inside of those temples and whatnot.
And look at the pillar, how they carve it.
Yeah.
It's really amazing that that's about 1,200 years old.
And it's still standing today.
Still standing today.
Man.
And it's beautiful. If you see it from the outside, it also has windows. And it's a shape of the Aksum obelisk, so you can see that, how they're related.
Oh, I see. So, that is one good point, and that's well, like I say, the art lasted all those years and hasn't shown anything of coming down, which is brings us to another interesting phase that we can go on with, instead of talking about that art, where is it repeated? You can see it through the whole country in nature. Because one of the greatest artists of all is nature, which is God.
Exactly.
And there's no surpassing that.
And Ethiopia is very rich.
Well, speaking of things lasting a long time, and the artistry of God is we get to the volcano. And what's the name of that?
The Smoky Mountains.
The Smoky Mountain.
Yeah.
And they found a fossil there.
Near there in Afar region where the Smoky Mountains are. The Smoky Mountains are actually a lava lake. And it's the hottest place, one of the hottest places in the world. It's about 118 degrees.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Man.
People used to go by helicopter, but now they can go close to it and they can see while it's boiling. But you have to wear a mask.
Me, I ain't going near it, especially no helicopter, because I saw that one that dropped over there in Hawaii. No, thank you. I ain't dropping off in no volcano. But I'm sure it was a very historically interesting thing to see. Not often would one be able to barbecue 20 miles away. So, that's enough. And a lake of fire.
Like a fire.
Oh man,
it's beautiful.
I'm sure
as you can see it on the picture. It's
the picture is beautiful of that lake of fire.
It's kind of scary. But there are people.
As long as it stay right there and ain't start to flowing like a cup of tea or water like a river, it's cool. But it start flowing like a river, man, people better get stepping. I mean fast. I don't mean nonchalantly. and whatnot. But
in the same region, in a place called Hadar in Afar region,
Hadar.
in 1974, I think it was November 24, that Lucy was found.
What was her name?
Yeah, the fossil.
Oh, the fossil. Okay,
the remain.
in 1974.
Yeah, and she's the oldest human fossil that is that exists till
That's
now.
amazing. How was she preserved?
She is about 3.5 million years old.
Wow, man, that's amazing. Well, of course, they found her bones or something like that.
They found about 40% of the skeleton of a female. Yeah.
Man, well, see, that's a fascinating study in and of itself. Anyway, you go back. I happen to personally, I like history. That was one of my favorite subjects. Along with
if you
others.
love history, you would love Ethiopia.
Oh yeah. Well, ancient history,
Yeah.
I like that too. I went through how some of the things that happened in ancient history can relate to what's going on today. In a lot of ways, but we're doing it in a different way. Our technology has took advantages of inventions, but it still is amazing to me how they were able to move tons and tons and tons of material. There was no cranes, there's no nothing, and get that thing to go stand up.
How they erected
how high is that? Speaking back to the structure, how high was that structure up in the air? It was something like 50 feet.
It was 70.
That we were talking about earlier. About
For your surprise, the Italian, when they invaded Ethiopia, they took one of the obelisks.
They took one?
They took one. I don't know how they carried it.
What?
Back then.
And took it out of the country and took it with them?
Yeah.
Oh,
which is going to take me the other interesting part of the story of Ethiopia.
Yeah, because that's twice that Ethiopia got into Italy. During the Second World War, Mussolini went down there and got whooped. And then how they did it to him was in a real type of just a real simple way and whatnot, using using the raw material.
Yeah.
But getting back to
but before that, the Italian tried about 1896 when Menelik was the emperor of Ethiopia. The Italians tried to invade Ethiopia then. And on March 2nd, they won the war. So Ethiopia is probably the only country that has never been colonized in Africa. And the victory was celebrated all over the world.
Now, I would like to ask you some questions, because this is also with the coffee drinking, y'all. We like to eat. So eating and drinking coffee kind of like go hand in hand. And with the some of the Ethiopian recipes, and you cook, by the way, which is fascinating.
I love to cook.
And whatnot. So we see in this first picture, actually first two pictures, but the first picture is some red something in a bowl. Now, what is that?
That's called berbere. It's a chili powder, and it's mixed with 12 herbs and spices.
Oh. So would that make your mouth burn?
Not that much. It's kind of mild. For me, probably because I got used to it, but even my friends, when they try it, it's kind of mild. And the really hot one is the chili powder, the very hot chili powder. It's called bidmita. That one is the really spicier one.
Well, okay, that's
and
very good.
And the berbere is added to pretty much 70% of the food.
Yeah. Well, this next one is very interesting. With the bowl, looks like tortilla chips around it. What is that?
That is the bottom one is injera. That's a staple food of Ethiopia, and it's made of teff. Teff is the tiniest and the smallest grain in the world, and it has a lot of health benefit. It is full of protein, calcium, iron, and fiber, and it's also gluten-free.
Oh, okay. Well, now I see something else here in a pot. Looks like chili. What is that?
That is doro with. Usually that's made from for holidays.
As a holiday.
And it's chicken stew. And
oh man.
It's that berbere is added in here as well.
That sounds good.
And you make the injera on the bottom. Mm-hmm. And that's how.
Yeah, and this one you told me about. It was what's that mixed with?
That's the cheese.
Cheese.
Cottage cheese.
Cottage cheese. Yeah.
The cottage cheese is called ibe.
Ibe.
Yeah.
Okay. And this one here, with the looks like brown
that is the
roll-ups around
injera.
it.
Yeah, that's the injera. That's the bread. Ethiopian bread, Ethiopian traditional bread.
I see it.
And as you can see, here's the teff grain. It's very small.
Oh, okay. And of course, very healthy. Healthy
It's
for you
very
to
healthy,
eat.
yeah.
Yeah. Now, this next.
And it's very traditional the way we eat, the way the food is eaten in a big platter. You don't use fork or knife.
Yeah, you mentioned. You take the food.
You take the injera and you cut it, and then you take a piece.
You feed it to your mate.
That's called gursha.
Yeah, and it's so romantic because all your senses.
All your senses are involved. That's what I always say. Yes.
Yeah.
You see it, you hear it when it's cooked, you smell it, and then you touch it with your own hands and eat it, and you give to the loved ones a gursha, which is a sign of love and respect.
Love and okay. Yeah. Now this picture here looks like grass, but it's not. What is that? Some type of?
That's the teff grain.
It's grain.
The teff plant.
S plant.
Teff.
F plant.
Teff, yeah.
Okay. Oh, calf plant. Okay.
The teff.
Yeah. Okay. And now we have something here. It looks like sponges. Yeah, you don't want to eat those, but yeah. So, well, I'll tell you what. Wow, man. You have taken me on a trip to Ethiopia, and I've just enjoyed the ride and whatnot. So I guess what I'm saying is, where are the places, just briefly, where one can find this delicious Ethiopian cuisine in the Bay Area?
In my kitchen.
Oh, yeah. You have to get that. And, in
the Bay Area, my favorite place.
Your favorite place,
is, Zeni Ethiopian restaurant. It's spelled Zeni, and it's located on Saratoga and Payne in San Jose.
All right.
I love her food.
Man, you all heard that now.
Yeah.
And this is the part of the show I hate to come to. It's been so lovely talking to you and having you on the show.
And if they want to cook Ethiopian food, they can follow me on Facebook. I have a website.
What is your website?
It's Samrawit Kitchen. Samrawit Kitchen. It's SAMRA apostrophe S Kitchen. Or they can go to my main Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Miss Ethiopia for Bay Area.
All right, man. Well, you all heard that. I certainly want to get lined up with some good cooking and some good healthy food. Check it out. And for any opinions, please email me at Wilbur_Nichols2003@yahoo.com. And you can find this show on YouTube /KMVT and go down the list to In the Arts. So again, I want to thank you again for being on the show, man. It's been a wealth of education. It's been a classroom. And I hope for you all out there that you are able to be as excited as I am to know about the information and how meaningful the history, and as well as the history, the value of the cuisine, and how it's healthy eating for you, and it also can help you sustain a healthy life through a healthy diet.
Yep.
And a healthy diet can permeate healthy thinking. So,
or you can run like Ethiopians.
Yes. But man, yeah, I'm thrilled. I'm really thrilled. You have really, and it's just a pleasure to have you here.
A pleasure being here.
And you made the show happen. And wow, what can I say? And I want to thank my illustrious crew, because those guys are top drawer, and KMVT Channel 15. And we always got something happening on Channel 15. Man, in the arts is the place to be.
يزلل كنيه